Tonight,
traffic is delayed all the time. It's slow. It's not moving.
New details about a plan to speed up construction on a congested thoroughfare. Also tonight, a public warning.
These individuals are very, very good at what they do.
A brazen pickpocket scheme who thieves are targeting. Plus, a sea of orange.
For me, I do this for myself. I also do this for my own healing.
Remembering, honoring, and healing as Manitobans mark Truth and Reconciliation Day.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. It's a Winnipeg street used by thousands of motorists every day, and often they're stuck in traffic. New details tonight about a $757 million plan to widen Kenaston Boulevard between Ness and Taylor. On Route 90 tonight with the details is CTV's Jeff Keel. So Jeff, when could this work begin?
Well, the city could start buying up properties next year with some work to begin the year after that. And Marilee, just take a look behind me. You can see how steady traffic is here on Route 90 at 6 o'clock. For many drivers, the plan to widen Route 90 is long overdue.
Because traffic is delayed all the time. It's slow. It's not moving.
Now, construction could begin within the next couple of years to widen the roadway between Taylor and Ness.
Absolutely. I live right there, and I tell you, it's just a snarl every single minute of the day.
A new report is recommending the project be considered in the city's budget process and begin no later than 2027, and that $5 million be set aside so the city can start buying property in 2026. It says having the fund in place will make it easier to relocate homeowners before shovels hit the ground.
I certainly support what the staff is recommending here to move ahead and put some money in the budget, for example, for acquisition of land that would be needed.
Mayor Scott Gillingham, who campaigned on getting this done, says the project is necessary to accommodate trade, the 78,000 vehicles that travel this stretch per day, and the new development coming at the former Cap Yong Barracks known as Nawe-Udina.
This is not a nice-to-have project. This project has got to be done for the reasons I've explained.
But the price tag for the project is as heavy as the traffic on Route 90. A new cost estimate pegs it at $757 million. $20 million more than a 2024 estimate.
No way, 700 million. Come on.
But that total includes the widening, sewer work, and refurbishment of the St. James bridges. The report says if the work doesn't start by 2027, the city will still have to fix the bridges anyway, which are in need of repair.
The report indicates that it can be done in pieces, but it would cost more if we just had the money for the bridge.
Now, just to give an idea on the timeline of all of this, the report does outline annual costs until 2033.
So Jeff, how would the city pay for this?
Yeah, that's a big question. The mayor was pretty clear today. The city would likely need the provincial and federal governments to chip in on this. And the report does say that if those levels of government did chip in and cost share on this project, the city could be in line for around $350 million.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. A warning tonight about a rise in jewelry distraction thefts in our city. Winnipeg police say thieves are targeting seniors who are alone, not fluent in English, and wearing visible jewelry.
These individuals are very, very good at what they do, not only in the distraction techniques that they're using, but even identifying the quality of the jewelry that their victims are wearing.
These crimes often happen outside retail stores and in parking lots, but police now say it's happening in residential areas. Last month alone, 3 incidents were reported to Winnipeg police, all in residential areas in the south end of the city. This video, captured by a doorbell camera, shows just how quickly these types of crimes can happen without the victim even knowing. This incident 2 weeks ago in Hamilton, Ontario, shows how a thief is able to replace an elderly homeowner's gold necklace with a fake one just by giving her a quick hug. Constable Claude Chansey says while these suspects seem kind and friendly, they are wolves in sheep's clothing.
If they're able to put their hands on somebody else's hands, They have gifts sometimes, like the fake jewelry, to place into somebody's hand. You've got now a hold of their hand. They're able to manipulate and through sleight of hand and take that off. In the case of a necklace, for example, they will sometimes even hug, embrace the person, and that's that physical contact, close physical contact that we're talking about, are able to place the jewelry around somebody's neck while removing the necklace at the same time.
One of the thefts on Bridgeland Drive here in Winnipeg happened when a suspect attempted to hug a victim and managed to steal her bracelet. In another incident, a suspect placed fake jewelry in the victim's hand and sold 2 rings and a necklace she was wearing. Police are urging victims to report these crimes and make note of suspect descriptions and other identifying details such as a license plate number. Protesters and counter-protesters came out to the Manitoba Legislative Building today over NDP Families Minister Nahanni Fontaine.
Unable to reason, unable to dialogue, unable to show basic human compassion, who tests the minds and the hearts of his human image bearers.
The protesters say Fontaine should be removed from her position because of a post she shared in the wake of the Charlie Kirk assassination. The Pope criticized Kirk, saying he was an individual who stood for hate, and went on to say they had absolutely no empathy for him. Rally organizers say it was vile and reprehensible and want Fontaine held accountable for the decisions she's made.
This is not any kind of retribution or message of dislike, hatred, anything like that at all. We just think that our politicians, the people that we elect, who represent all of Manitoba, that they need to conduct themselves in an ethically and highly moral way.
And with her social media posts, they feel she failed to meet that standard. However, a group of counter-protests came out to lend their voices in support of Fontaine. They're concerned she's been subjected to a huge amount of hatred.
Well, first but foremost, I think people in this province need to focus on the things that are happening in our province rather than in our neighbors' province or in our neighboring communities, such as the United States of America, and that we have our own problems that we need to deal with.
The controversy over Nahanni Fontaine made its way inside the walls of the Manitoba Legislature today and dominated the fall session's first day of question period. CTV's Danton Unger is standing by live in studio with more on what unfolded. So, Danton, what were the politicians saying about all of this?
Well, merely the session began with a call for civility from the Speaker, and this was followed by comments from both the NDP and Progressive Conservatives condemning any sort of political violence. However, the PCs continued to call for Fontaine's removal as Minister of Families, citing the protest outside. And that prompted this comment from the Premier.
Go tell the people who are going to gather here this afternoon that you should not be protesting a Minister of the Crown's right to serve the people of Manitoba. And I would say to the goofballs out front, if you have an issue, you have an issue with me. I am the one who decided to keep this minister at the cabinet table.
Premier Wab Kinew defended Fontaine, saying she's a great minister and he doesn't believe in cancel culture. In response, Progressive Conservative leader Albie Khan tabled 450 emails from Manitoba residents, which he says all called for the minister's removal. He pointed to previous controversy involving Fontaine, including her hot mic comments against an American Sign Language interpreter. After question period, Khan told reporters serving as a minister is a privilege, not a right.
The Premier to think that it is the right of his minister versus a honor and privilege that we are elected to do and represent the very people that have put us there. This minister is the Minister of Families and Accessibility. Guys, how many more incidences do we have to have before this Premier does something?
Now, all this comes following recent acts of vandalism at Fontaine's constituency office. On Tuesday, there was a fire prompting an investigation by the Winnipeg Police Service's Major Crimes Unit. About a week prior, the windows of Fontaine's office were smashed. And she's not the only one. Addictions Minister Bernadette Smith has also had several acts of vandalism at her constituency office, including multiple fires. Kinew says he's started the process of talking to the Legislative Assembly Management Commission, asking if the existing budget for security at MLA offices is sufficient.
So, Danton, do we know how much is currently budgeted for MLA security?
about $4,400 per constituency office. The Premier says he's also speaking to officials about broader security, though he wouldn't go into detail, citing security concerns.
All right, thanks for this, Danton. Manitoba communities impacted by this year's wildfire season can now receive financial help from the government. The province has officially launched a disaster financial assistance program. Communities directly affected by wildfires are eligible for support, as are communities who incurred significant costs while hosting wildfire evacuees. The province says costs covered include preemptive preparation efforts, emergency response operations, recovery support, and long-term wildfire mitigation strategies. Applicants have until November 30th to make claims. More information about the program can be found online. Harvest Manitoba is eyeing a $20 million expansion, and a major donation today made it one step closer to becoming reality.
There's so many beets.
Giving more Manitobans access to local fresh food like these beets, potatoes, and green beans is the goal. Farm Credit Canada handed over $500,000 to Harvest today to expand its food distribution efforts across the province. It's the first chunk of a $20 million fundraising target to expand its facility and build a food transformation distribution center. Harvest Manitoba's president, Vince Barletta, says it will dramatically cut down on food waste and increase food security, something he says is essential as more Manitobans struggle to afford groceries.
It's going to allow us to process more food and get more food onto the kitchen tables of Manitobans. We're talking about a 30,000 square foot expansion of Harvest's existing facilities, and that's going to enable us to manage and process another 8 million pounds a year of food products from the prairies and here in Manitoba, and get it on the kitchen tables, serving tens of thousands of more Manitobans every month.
Barletta would prefer to stay at the Winnipeg Avenue location, but if that can't happen, it will look for elsewhere to build. A decision about the location will be made in the next few months. Apps like Uber and Lyft continue to grow in popularity, especially as a way to get from hockey games, concerts, and other events. But there aren't any designated pickup or drop-off spots around venues, which is why the city wants to create new rideshare loading zones to address safety and traffic issues. The city is proposing 3 zones near Canada Life Centre and Burton Cummings Theatre. A total of 10 on-street parking spaces would become designated spots in the evening. During that time, only rideshare vehicles will be allowed to stop for up to 15 minutes in the spots. A Public Works Committee report says council will need to amend parking bylaws for this to happen. And more rideshare loading zones could even be established in the future. Meantime, the Public Service is recommending expanding parking restrictions on a busy stretch of St. Mary's Road during the afternoon rush hour. If approved, stopping will not be allowed there between 3 and 6 p.m. on southbound St. Mary's from Marion Street to Fermor Avenue. Restrictions currently in place begin at 3:30. The city says the extension would align with changes made in the spring to southbound St. Mary's from Fermor to Dakota. The Public Works Committee was set to meet next Tuesday. Let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. Boy, is it ever windy out there.
Very windy, not for much longer, though. Those winds will start to subside here in the Winnipeg area. Another very warm day. We set records across southern Manitoba, including here in Winnipeg yesterday, to close out the month of September. Today, a very warm start to the month of October. And with that, some instability, and that's been tripping off some thunderstorms. They've been moving out of southeastern Manitoba. There was quite the hailstorm over Steinbach earlier today. But you can see those storms quickly moving into northwestern Ontario, non-severe. But behind that, there will be more warm weather in parts of the province. Other areas will feel more like it ought to for this time of year. And yes, eventually those temperatures are going to change here in Winnipeg. Not too long from now. I'll show you when that will happen coming up. Let's take a look right now through the Bath Fitter Live Eye. Bath Fitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, it is 26 degrees. When you factor in that humidex, it feels like 31. Still some strong and gusting winds from the south. The pressure is falling, and the humidity right now, merrily, is 55%.
Thanks, Colleen. St. Andrew's Lock and Dam is shutting down for the winter in a couple of weeks. The dam is closing to boaters on Tuesday, October 14th at midnight. Public Services Canada says water levels on both a Red and Assiniboine will fluctuate in the Winnipeg area and north to Lockport as a result. Now, the process could be sped up if temperatures drop drastically in the next 2 weeks. Government officials warn property owners on the two rivers and their tributaries should protect their property. Officials also advise the graded areas below the dam could be closed if conditions become turbulent or dangerous. Once those graded areas are closed, they will remain so until spring. Thousands gathered in Winnipeg yesterday for the 5th annual Orange Shirt Day Healing Walk and Powwow. It honors residential school survivors and the children who never returned home.
Just being a settler and an ally, I want to make sure that this day and all children are recognized and no one deserves to be forgotten.
The event began with a pipe ceremony at the Forks, followed by a healing walk to RBC Convention Center. Inside, dancers wore regalia passed down through generations, each piece telling a story of resilience and healing.
For me, I do this for myself. I also do this for my own healing. I also like to bring my family closer together with this regalia. It is a powerful outfit that I wear, and especially for my family.
My grandpa, he passed it down to me. It means a lot to me because it was used before I even got to use it. Now I wear it with pride and dignity.
The march was just one of several events in Winnipeg and across Canada to mark the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Wildlife advocate and chimpanzee expert Jane Goodall has died. We'll look back at the extraordinary life of this revolutionary scientist. Plus,
it is not okay to keep them in captivity for entertainment purposes.
What will happen to the last beluga whales in captivity in Canada after Ottawa rejects a move to move them to an aquarium in China?
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Winnipeg, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Manitoba's minimum wage is up 20 cents today. It's now $16 an hour. The increase is based on Manitoba's inflation rate in 2024. Our province is one of 5 raising the minimum wage today. Saskatchewan, Ontario, Nova Scotia, and Prince Edward Island are also hiking theirs. Across the country, Nunavut boosts the highest minimum wage at $19.75 per hour, while Alberta's is the lowest at $15 an hour. Turning to the markets now, crude oil is down 59 cents U.S. per barrel. The Canadian dollar dropped to 71.74 cents U.S. Gold climbed by more than $24 an ounce. The TSX is up by more than 84 points. The Dow Jones is ahead by more than 43 points, while the Nasdaq is up 95 points. A shooting at a busy Starbucks coffee shop in Quebec has killed 1 person and injured 2 others in what's said to be a targeted attack.
This morning at around 10:35, the 911 received several calls for gunshots around the Starbucks restaurant near the Highway 440. On scene, police officers discovered people with gunshot wounds. For now, I don't have any update on their health situation. This is still an ongoing operation, so we ask please to the population to don't come here to watch or to see the officers working.
Quebec's public security minister said in a social media post, all indications point to the shooting being linked to organized crime. The Starbucks is located near a busy highway in Laval in a commercial area next to several other businesses. However, police say there is no risk to the public. A portion of a public housing apartment building in New York City collapsed, leaving a corner of the building in a pile of rubble. It happened this morning in the Bronx. The fire department responded to a report of a gas explosion in the boiler room, which collapsed an incineration shaft in the 20-story building. The city set up an evacuation center to support impacted residents. There are no reports of any injuries. The federal government has denied a request from Marineland to export 30 beluga whales to an aquarium in China. A decision slammed by the marine park, which says it has few options left to care for the animals. CTV's Heather Wright is in Niagara Falls, where the fate of the whales is very much in limbo.
The last captive whales in Canada are behind these gates. Marineland, the zoo and amusement park near Niagara Falls, Ontario, had requested an export permit to send its 30 beluga whales to the Chimelong Ocean Kingdom in China, which today was denied by Ottawa as it would have kept the whales in captivity just on another continent.
It is not okay to keep them in captivity for entertainment purposes.
In a statement, Marineland said it was profoundly disappointed in the federal government's decision, saying it leaves them with no ability to pay for the whales' continued feeding and care. The park has not been open in more than a year and is currently up for sale. At least 20 whales have died here since 2019, and in 2021, the province said all marine mammals living here were in distress. One option for the Marineland belugas is to send them to a proposed sanctuary in Nova Scotia. But that sanctuary is not open and has yet to receive the lease and approvals necessary. Melissa Matlow with World Animal Protection is calling on politicians to do what they can to get it up and running.
I believe the sanctuary is ready to accept the whales within a year. I mean, it takes that amount of time to condition whales for transport anyway.
Today, Ontario Premier Doug Ford said the government will do what it can to find the whales a new home.
If we want these whales to survive, we have to move them somewhere.
The fisheries minister said today she is open to other options, but there aren't many easy ones. These whales cannot be released into the wild, and experts say some of them are likely not healthy enough to be moved. Heather Wright, CTV News, Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Coming up, I'm going to speak with a local representative with Animal Justice Canada, why it's adamant this decision is the right move and why it's optimistic about the future of the whales. The U.S. federal government remains shut down after the Senate refused to advance a Republicans' funding bill. This is the first U.S. government shutdown in nearly 7 years. The Democrats are demanding stronger health care benefits. Republicans are opposed to that and have been pushing to temporarily maintain current government funding to allow more time for negotiations. As of now, about 750,000 federal workers are on unpaid leave, but essential workers are expected to continue as normal. And the U.S. government shutdown may affect some Canadians. If you're traveling to the U.S., be prepared for delays. Canadian travelers can expect to face longer than usual lines at airports and land border crossings. Although air traffic control and TSA workers are considered essential, they won't be paid until the shutdown resolves. And during the last shutdown, many workers began to call in sick, leading to major disruptions. Rescue efforts are underway in the central Philippines at this hour after a deadly earthquake. At least 69 people are dead after the 6.9 magnitude earthquake struck at around 10 last night. The provincial government has declared a state of calamity. One person told reporters it was as if the earth stopped spinning. Officials are now rushing to deliver aid to the area and restore power. The earthquake comes just a week after back-to-back typhoons killed at least 30 people in the Philippines, Thailand, and Vietnam. RCMP are investigating a disturbing incident connected to supporters of a BC ostrich farm who have set up camp to protect the flock. The Mounties have arrested a man who allegedly tried to set fire to an elderly neighbor and her home. CTV's Judy Trin has the exclusive details.
What is going on? We're dealing with another issue altogether.
Last week, when the RCMP descended on the Universal Ostrich Farm to assist the Canadian Food Inspection Agency in a planned cull, the Mounties were sidetracked by a chilling 911 call.
I was so into the fear that I was going to get lit on fire.
Lois Wood says that just after sunrise, she saw a masked man dressed in black pouring gas around her home. When she confronted him, the intruder threw gas on her. The 72-year-old went into fight mode.
This is primal. This is survival. And I bit his upper arm as hard as I could, and he punched me in the face and knocked me down.
Wood's home is next to the ostrich farm. Since the government ordered the flock destroyed after avian flu was detected,
and you know this is wrong.
Dozens of supporters have set up camp to protect the birds. Police say they have arrested a suspect.
We believe he was attached to the protest camp.
A Conservative MP is also urging the Agriculture Minister to stop the slaughter and is cautioning supporters to stay calm.
Any violence or anything off that moves from the beaten path of peaceful protest is going to result in bad things for the Ostriches. Political support will dry up.
The farm's owners say they helped remove the suspect and that their supporters are not a threat. In a statement, spokesperson Katie Pisitny questioned why mainstream media would choose to publish a negative and false representation of the farm, just as the country's highest court was weighing whether it deserved a chance at justice. The cull of more than 300 birds is currently on hold. The Supreme Court will decide later this week if it will hear the farm's appeal to overturn a government order to destroy the birds. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up after the break, we look back at the life of Jane Goodall.
I'd name the chimps instead of numbering them. I talked about them having personalities.
The revolutionary scientist has died at the age of 91. Her mark on wildlife research and conservation.
And a very warm start to the long-range forecast for Winnipeg, albeit a cloudy one. There's even the possibility of showers or thunderstorm Friday, up to 25. 20 Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, but showers are quite likely. An even stronger chance of outright rain on Sunday. But look at that temperature change. 13 degrees, 11 on Monday under a mix of sun and cloud, 10 degrees on Tuesday, again under a mix of sun and cloud.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
One of the world's most prominent scientists, Jane Goodall, died today of natural causes at the age of 91. Goodall's love of wildlife and research fueled a lifelong passion for chimpanzees and the environment, inspiring the Jane Goodall Institute of Canada. Here's CTV's Andrew Johnson with a look back at the remarkable life of a conservationist who spoke up for animals.
When a young British woman with a childhood love of primates but little scientific training traveled to Tanzania in 1960, she changed the way we look at chimpanzees.
When I got to Cambridge finally, they were totally horrified. I'd named the chimps instead of numbering them. I talked about them having personalities. I talked about them having minds and being able to have rational thoughts and emotions, happiness, sadness, fear. And all of these things were supposed to be attributes only of humans.
Jane Goodall also found the chimps, like humans, used tools. She incorporated their distinct personalities and family relationships into her work.
Being out in the wild, you know, back when I dreamed of it, there was nobody doing anything like that.
Goodall considered it her lifelong quest to protect the planet.
We've got a window of time, I believe, to start slowing down climate change, loss of biodiversity, to alleviate poverty, to bring to an end the terrible industrial farming, especially of animals, to try and persuade the very wealthy to be a little more considerate of the future.
Goodall married twice and had one son. In 2003, she was appointed a Dame of the British Empire, and she received the U.S. Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2025.
I want to be remembered for having helped people to understand the true nature of animals, that they do matter as individuals.
Well into old age, Goodall was on the road hundreds of days a year, speaking up for animals and the environment, trying to empower people to do their bit, as she called it, believing millions of people making small changes can make a huge difference. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady is back now with your complete Skywatch forecast. And what did we end up hitting yesterday? Over 30 degrees, right?
Here in Winnipeg, we reached 30.4 degrees merrily, making it a brand new record for September 30th, the last day of September. above 30 here in the city. That bested the previous record set way back in 1989. A pretty sizable smashing of that record too. But Winnipeg was just one of a dozen communities in the south that set new heat records yesterday. Swan River got up to 31.4 degrees. So that was September. Today, well, that's October. That's another story. Still very warm. Not quite as warm here in Winnipeg. We got up to about 26. But the hot spot in Canada so far today remains Emerson, Manitoba, getting up to 28.4 degrees. It's still the hot spot in the country right now at 27.4 degrees. There's something about 0.4 in that yesterday and today. So yes, very warm conditions to end the month of September, begin the month of October. But as I showed you with the long-range forecast, that's going to change here in Winnipeg in the coming days. It's going to change a lot sooner for you in parts of the north. The reason being, there is a low-pressure system passing overhead, and there's a cold front coming through. Now, here in the south, we have those thunderstorms I showed you. They're moving off now into northwestern Ontario. But essentially, southern Manitoba has been in what's known as the warm sector. It's that sweet spot that's in between a warm front out to the front and a cold front coming in from behind. So in between the two, we've got that nice pocket of warm air, but it's also brought some instability. So it brought things like hail to Steinbach earlier today. We have some pretty fast-moving thunderstorms that have moved for the most part out of Manitoba or on the way out, moving now into northwestern Ontario. You can see right around the Kenora area. Showers expected in Kenora until late tonight before they taper off. Up in the north, there's showers moving through as well in some areas. You can see Lynn Lake. You might get some into tomorrow morning. Other areas too, Thompson and Churchill. Most likely you'll see some showers come through overnight, maybe with thunderstorms too. They miss us here entirely here in the south. Those strong winds today will ease up early this evening. Overnight, they'll be much lighter here in the south as that rain will spread out into other areas across northern Manitoba and into tomorrow morning. You can see it's quite a bit coming down in parts of the northeast. It misses us again in the south, where temperatures will also remain quite warm here for the time being. Not those scorching summer-like temperatures, but still very warm for this time of year. We get into Friday, things start to change a little bit. Clouding over in the south, and we may see some showers pass through, but as we get into the weekend, that's when things are going to make their turn. Tonight down to 14 with the risk of thunderstorms, those winds easing up mid-evening. Sunny tomorrow for the commute, 15 degrees, 26 is the high in the sunshine with light winds. The UV index for tomorrow is 5 or moderate. Quick swing around the province tonight again. Showers overnight through Churchill and Thompson, and then tomorrow you may see more showers in Thompson with your temperature falling to 11. Cloudy tonight across the northwest, or partly cloudy, overnight lows between 9 and 13. Showers for Lynn Lake tomorrow, 12 there. Drier for the rest of the region. Across the southwest tonight, down to 9. Just a few clouds, 25 and windy for most areas, including Brandon. Winnipeg in the southeast, best chance of showers is to the east of the city. You may see more yet overnight there, too. Sunny tomorrow with very warm highs in the mid-20s. And in northwestern Ontario, as I mentioned, those showers continuing for the next few hours in Kenora. Sunny there tomorrow with a hot high of 27. Our first weather photo takes us up to beautiful Oxford House and a look at the northern lights there. That photo is from Patricia. And this pair, this is Boone and Cricket, out in Argyle enjoying that beautiful sky. That photo is from Linda, and you can email us yours to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Why a theme park in China isn't the only viable option for those belugas left at Marineland. A local spokesperson for Animal Justice Canada pushes back on the narrative after the break. Plus,
somebody they knew or their spouse that was experiencing falls, and nothing was out there to help.
A Canadian invention aims to give those with mobility issues their independence back. How it works, coming up after the break in Medical Watch. Animal advocates are applauding the federal government's decision to stop the export of belugas from Marineland to a theme park in China. And joining me now to talk more about that decision and what it means for the future of the whales is Caitlin Mitchell, Director of Legal Advocacy for Animal Justice Canada. Caitlin, good to speak with you.
Thanks so much for having me.
First, can you give us an idea of just how significant this decision by the federal government is?
This decision is huge because it really is a life or death decision for these whales. And here, the government absolutely made the right choice in rejecting Marineland's request. This is a request to send 30 whales, many of whom unfortunately are probably sick, all the way around the world so that they could live at another theme park where they were likely to be exploited in shows and possibly maybe even made to breed in captivity, two things that are illegal in Canada. So this decision really is huge, and it upholds the spirit and intent of Canada's law that bans captivity of these animals and is intended to protect them and ensure that their best interests guide decision making.
What about the welfare implications for the belugas now that will continue to be held at Marineland?
It is such a challenging situation, and absolutely there is no magical solution here. Leaving these whales at Marineland in their current conditions would absolutely be a death sentence for these animals. So we are working as hard as we can to encourage both the federal government and the province to step up to the plate here and come up with a clear, transparent plan for these animals that ensures they will not be forced to stay in these decrepit tanks that they're currently in, but that they will also not just be shipped overseas to the highest bidder. We really need a plan here that ensures these whales have the best future possible.
Is there an ideal solution available in this country right now for these belugas moving forward?
Sadly, not at this moment. But what I would say is that there's serious reason for optimism. We know that the Whale Sanctuary Project has been working so hard to open in Nova Scotia, and sending as many of these whales as possible to that sanctuary is absolutely the best case scenario here. The reality is the sanctuary cannot fit all 30 of these whales, so there still is a question about what to do with the remaining whales. Sadly, I think many of them may be too sick to be transported anywhere. So we will need Ontario to step up and improve the conditions that they're in, ensure they get the veterinary care they need, and send Marineland the bill.
Is there a place for belugas in, captivity for entertainment purposes in this day and age?
No. Absolutely not. And when Canada banned the captivity of whales and dolphins in 2019, it was a groundbreaking move, and we've seen other countries around the world now following suit. I think we'll continue to see more and more countries ban cetacean captivity, and as a result, we'll see increased demand for seaside sanctuaries like the Whale Sanctuary Project.
Well, Caitlin, I want to thank you for your insight into this tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Well, thanks so much for your attention to this really serious issue.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and according to Shared Health, it's estimated 1 in 8 Canadian women could develop breast cancer during her lifetime. Breast cancer is one of the most common cancers among Canadian women. It's also the second leading cause of cancer deaths. Mammograms are recommended for women over 50, but research shows younger women are developing breast cancer, which is why Shared Health hopes to raise awareness about it and the importance of early screening with its Breast Check program.
Especially in the 50 to 74 category, get screened. The breast screening program will contact you. You can contact your healthcare provider, and they can sort of set you up with the program. It's an excellent program. It has a mobile unit, so we reach all across Manitoba. If you have any questions, that's the first step, and you can also contact the Breast Check program.
You can access the Breast Check program through Cancer Care Manitoba's website. A simple fall at home can be life-altering for a senior. In some cases, it could mean waiting for help or calling 911 for something as simple as getting back up. But as CTV's Hafsa Arif reports, a Canadian invention aims to give those with mobility issues their independence back.
It all started when Tracy McGilvery's father, Ray, began to fall at home.
He couldn't get back up on his own anymore. And Mom was unable to help him. She was 81, not without putting herself at significant risk. So if neither my husband or I were home, they would end up having to call 911.
She says her family tried every product out there, but nothing helped. McGilvery quickly learned her father's situation wasn't unique.
Everybody had a story about either their grandparent or their parent or another extended family member, somebody they knew, or their spouse that was experiencing falls, and nothing was out there to help.
Emergency crews are being called out more and more just for lift assists, which is why McGilvery decided to build a device to help.
Started building it with 2x4s and plywood and taking apart car jacks and taking apart drills to simulate motors. and actually building functional mock-ups.
Now named Ramex, in memory of McGillivray's father, the product is simple to use. With the push of a button, it gently lifts the person back to their feet.
So we started selling commercially in June, taking orders commercially, and so we've got 90% of our first production run is already committed.
The product is made in Nova Scotia. The device rolls off the line in Amherst later this month, destined for homes across Canada, the U.S., Europe, and beyond. Inspired by her father, who sadly never got to use the finished product, McGillivray says the Ramex is more than just a project. It's about independence, dignity, and honoring her parents. Hafsa Arif, CTV News, Halifax.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manuka and Koster Denture Clinic.
Manitoba Theatre for Young People is ready for another season. We'll give you a glimpse of its first Frosty production and he's a Winnipeg rock legend and he's performing in Winnipeg this fall. What makes this Burton Cummings performance unique? The Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Honeymoon Suite with guest Lee Aaron.
The Manitoba Theatre for Young People is launching its new season with a story that most Manitobans are all too familiar with.
The snowflakes were huge, like frisbees or dinner plates.
Gather tells the story of a town that goes into a deep freeze and everyone is stuck inside. So two friends go on a mission to find one another and to rediscover their town.
The snow creates an environment in which people are a bit more removed from each other than they normally are, and removed, like our friendship, we don't get to see each other for a little while because of the snow, and so it's about how everyone copes.
Library.
Gather is recommended for children ages 5 and up. Performances take place in the newly renovated Richardson Studio Theatre, ideal for more intimate up-close performances. For tickets, go to mtyp.ca. He has a Winnipeg theatre named after him, so it's only fitting that he performs there. Of course, we're talking about Burton Cummings, the Winnipeg-born singer-songwriter and former Guess Who frontman, agreed to perform a minimum of 4 concerts in the facility that bears his name. Proceeds from his concerts will go toward the continued rejuvenation of the theatre. Burt plays the Burt on November 13th. Cummings' performances at the theatre in 2017 and 2022 sold out immediately. Tickets go on sale Friday at burtoncummingstheatre.ca. The ultimate battle of good versus evil comes to a head this weekend at the Centennial Concert Hall. Grab your wands. The Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra is bringing the final chapter of Harry Potter to life. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 takes the stage and screen as the boy who lived squares off with he who shall not be named in the finale of this epic film concert series.
You will walk into a massive concert hall here at Centennial Concert Hall, and there will be a full orchestra on the stage, and we are synchronizing the musical soundtrack live and in real time with a full symphony orchestra, the original music, with the film as you watch it.
The concert series runs Thursday through Saturday evening, starting at 7:30 each night, and there are still limited tickets available for each performance. Visit wso.ca. Your primetime lineup starts at 7 with Shifting Gears, and a double shot of Georgia and Mandy's first marriage follows at 7:30. Catch The Amazing Race at 8:30, and The Floor wraps things up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
I love creating photos. I love manipulating light, but my favorite part of creating headshots is connecting with people.
A local photography studio is trying to even the playing field for people looking for work. We'll explain after the 7-day forecast.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
26 was a very warm start to the month of October, but not a record. We have to go back to 1992, 30.5 degrees on that day. Tonight, we drop down to 14 degrees. There is a risk of a thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy, and it is not Orange Shirt Day tomorrow. That has not been updated, folks, but we'll be warm tomorrow. As we get closer to the weekend, though, rain will start to move in.
Thanks, Colleen. A local photography studio is offering a small but powerful tool to help level the playing field for people looking for a job.
Don't worry about your expression. Let me just make sure these lights are looking.
Today, 204 Photography in the Exchange District offered free headshots to people facing employment barriers, including new immigrants, asylum seekers, and people living with physical or mental disabilities. The studio provided up to 100 professional headshots at no cost. Each participant gets a professional image they can use for resumes, LinkedIn, and applications.
Everyone just has so much confidence when they're looking at these photos of themselves. They didn't know they could look that approachable, look that welcoming, look that confident, that when they're leaving, they know that they've got something in their portfolio now that's going to be on their LinkedIn or their resume or even on a website that's going to represent them in a way that they're really proud of.
The studio is working directly with local nonprofits to ensure those photos get to the people preparing to re-enter the workforce.
Very smart.
We wish you lots of luck.
Yep.
All right, and we hope to see you back here tomorrow, same time.